Hello and welcome to this interaction. I'm Dr. Peter Ogudoro, the leader of Nigerian Teachers Community. Nigerian Teachers Community is a community of teachers, professional teachers who have the responsibility to look after the children and young persons who God has blessed parents. We, as the name suggests, are mostly Nigerians, but many of us come from other countries around the world, including educational researchers who have joined us from virtually every country and continent on the face of the earth. And as of today, we are about 500,000, and our mission is to work with all stakeholders in the education industry to empower teachers and ensure that the students they look after also get the best opportunities possible to maximize the gifts and potentials that God has blessed them with. Nigerian Teachers Community, which last year, which in 2021 won the Facebook Community Accelerator Award as a result of what Facebook identified as our outstanding performance as a community that supports our members. And that has boosted our place in the world. So as of today, we have become the world's most vibrant teachers community. And that has made it possible for us to develop very mutually rewarding and beneficial partnerships with institutions around the world. Recently, I was in Finland and in the UK, courtesy of Facebook, to go and have a look at the type of education they provide the young people in those countries. Of course, I also studied in the UK. I earned my PhD in education with emphasis of career management at the University of Reading and had the opportunity to move around the world. I was at Cambridge University, where I, courtesy of a fellowship program, had the opportunity to learn from the masters how to use classrooms to get our children to develop the awareness they need to acquire to be able to take good care of the environment. And I was also in several other countries apart from the UK. In the UK, before I moved to other areas, I was also at University of Sheffield, and then moved to Austria, where I had the singular honor and privilege to be the only African who had the opportunity to work with about 35 other scholars from around the world under the auspices of Austria's Center for Innovation in Education. I was also in Norway, as well as in Sweden. So the opportunities I have had in all these places have made it possible for me to acquire uncommon skills, which I now use to do the kind of work I do in Africa. I lead the Nigerian Teachers Community as a result of the researches I have done. I created the community in 2016, and today we have become a very significant member of the international space where education is discussed. We want to give you the advantage of benefiting from the opportunities we provide teachers, parents, and young persons. Our focus would be on young people who are truly outstanding. You do well in English language, you do well in mathematics, and you probably do well in some other courses like commerce, accounting, and those in STEM. You do well in physics, in chemistry, in mathematics, in biology. We are interested in you if you have averaged about minimum 70% in those critical subjects. And we see you as a talent the world needs to invest in, and we want to be the first to recognize the commitment you are demonstrating towards improving yourself and contributing to uplifting your family and the world we live in. And this briefing is meant to provide you information that will ensure that you do not continue to worry about how you are going to get opportunities to go to school, especially university, in terms of how do you secure admission, how do you make the right choice of course, how do you fund your education, especially if you are ambitious enough to want to study abroad, especially in the US, UK, and Canada, as well as some other parts of the Western world, the advanced societies, including Germany, and even Norway and other countries in the Scandinavian region. Within the 30 minutes I will interact with you, I will be helping you understand how easy it is to achieve what you desire to achieve, what your parents would want you to achieve. Life is not as difficult as it seems. The reason why people suffer in Africa is because of lack of information. Unfortunately for us in Africa, we don't have universities training counselors to the level where they become professional career managers. I am a career practitioner by the singular privilege I have had to have studied at the University of Reading, where I did my PhD in education with emphasis on career management. But I'm not aware of any university in Africa that is offering career management. And so you have that privilege this evening to have me hold you by the hand and show you around the world so that you can get the full benefit of your gift. One of the challenges we have had in Nigeria and for most parts of Africa is the fact that young people are ambitious and hardworking enough to be able to earn good grades and get into the university to work hard and do what they need to do. But unfortunately, many of these young people who are working hard are not getting enough opportunities to get into the kind of universities that will prepare them for the uncommon problems they have the innate ability and capacity to solve for the world. We want to change that this evening for you because you are very privileged to be watching this presentation. So the first thing I need to let you know is to recognize that your present family circumstances should not be the reason why you can't get what you want in terms of academic attainment. I do not come from a very robust financial family background, really. My parents couldn't give me education beyond secondary school, not because they didn't want to, but because they couldn't afford it. So all the education I have had beyond secondary school, I have worked hard to give myself those opportunities. As of today, I have been able to attend 2 business schools around the world. I was at a business school where I earned a master's in business administration with emphasis on human resources management. In England, at the University of Reading, I attended the Institute of International Development and Applied Economics, where I earned another master's degree in communication for innovation and development. And then I moved on to the Institute of Education of the University of Reading, where I earned a PhD in education with emphasis on career management. So, and I have earned several certifications in public relations, in human resources management, and fellow of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria. I'm a member of Nigerian Institute of Management, an associate member of the Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria, and several other professional bodies around the world, including Chartered Institute of Public Relations in the UK, Chartered Institute of Personnel Development in the UK, Public Relations Society of America. So if I was able to do it, I don't see why you shouldn't aspire to be able to go beyond the seeming obstacles standing in your way at the moment to accomplish as much as God has programmed you to accomplish. So stop worrying about your family challenges. Stop worrying about the money that is not there. A lot of the things you think you need money for, with the information we're going to provide this night, you're likely to discover that you don't need money for them. And that is the truth of the matter. I have been able to accomplish most of the things I've accomplished, not because I was spending money all the time. Most of the money I spent in Europe to acquire the very outstanding education I have had the privilege to acquire. It wasn't my money. I was sponsored because I worked hard much earlier and then acquired career management knowledge, which enabled me to navigate the career space globally. So in many of the places I went to, it was other people's money. It was government money. European governments put money in my education, and you stand a chance to get a similar opportunity. I have also 2 children who are moving in similar directions. Those are the only two children I have. They too are today studying in the United States of America, courtesy of scholarships they have won, because they worked very hard while they were in primary and secondary schools. And I'm going to give you the keys to doing the kind of things they have done, so that you can also get awesome opportunity to study in the best universities around the world, so that you can become the instrument in the hands of God to lift your family up. These things are possible, and do not let anybody deceive you into thinking that because your parents don't have money, you cannot get to where you should get to. And so, but I must confirm that you need to make some investment. That investment doesn't always have to be money. You have to commit to studying, you have to commit to reading, you have to commit to going out of your comfort zone. I have come across a lot of young people in Lagos, in Abuja, in several other parts of Nigeria and Africa, who have never left the city where they were born. And so nursery school, Lagos, primary school, Lagos, secondary school, Lagos, university, Lagos, NYSC, Lagos, working in Lagos. That is not a globally competitive individual. So you have to begin to think about the possibility and the need for you to move out of your comfort zone. Yeah, in Nigeria today, we talk about security challenges, but again, if you don't want to move around Nigeria, you should be willing to move outside of Nigeria to Europe and North America, Canada, United States of America, and in some sense, you can even go to Asia. Go to Hong Kong, go to India, go to China. Opportunities are bound in all of those places, and we are going to explain to you how you're going to get there. So I am starting with our home, Nigeria. In Nigeria today, for you to secure admission to get into the university, you need to pass through the institution we call Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB. JAMB conducts what we call UTME, Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. And that is an exam meant for those who want to get into university or get into polytechnic or get into colleges of education. We know that over 90% of the young people who are writing UTME annually are not interested in polytechnic and colleges of education. It's only when they don't get into university for the courses they want and into the institutions they desire that they begin to think of the possibility of going to polytechnic and colleges of education. It doesn't necessarily mean that the people who go through polytechnic or college of education are not going to be successful, but indeed, is a legitimate desire to want to go straight to university, because in some sense it saves you time. If you have to do polytechnic first, you do 2 years ND, take a year off to go and get industrial experience, come back, if you're lucky, to have earned good grade to be admitted into a HND program. You do another 2 years before you now go to do your NYSC. And then when you finish, most organizations in Nigeria are not favorably disposed to acknowledging that truly you are a graduate. Some of them still think that you are not a graduate until you have gone to a university. Whether that is right or wrong is beside the point, but we are going to help you to be able to move in the direction you want. If what you want to achieve is to go straight to university, you should be able to achieve that. So as of today, how do people get into the university? There are 3 elements that are involved. If you want to get into university, as you prepare to go and write JAMB now, this year, know, or next year you're going to write JAMB, know that we are no longer in the era. When I wrote UTME, it wasn't actually called UTME then, but the equivalent of UTME. It was just that exam. You write it, you pass, you don't go anywhere, you don't talk to anybody. When you are filling your form, you drop an envelope in the larger envelope. And when you pass, they send you the letter. And that's what happened to me. I wrote and passed, and I didn't know anybody. They sent me a letter to say, you have been admitted into the university where I was supposed to study law. But I changed my mind. I didn't have to, because my parents couldn't afford, to pay the school fees. And then I had to follow a different route. So I went through undergraduate program by, sandwich, training. And so when those who do regular education go and spend full time to study, when they're out during long vacation, people like us will go. And so I had the privilege to be studying and working. And so that gave me opportunity to test some of the theories I was being taught in school, in the real world. And probably that has enabled me to acquire some of the very special skills that I have today. So that you are not able to do things in conventional ways does not mean that you cannot get to where other people are getting to. And so, interestingly, things have changed now. For you to get into university today, you need to do UTME and earn good mark if you want to get into a professional course, computer science, engineering, medicine, pharmacy, accountancy, personnel management. Those are courses that are in high demand in Nigeria, not necessarily because you have to study them to be successful, but because that is just what we know. There are several other courses you can study and be as successful as a medical doctor, if not more successful, interestingly. Unless God has called you to become a medical doctor, you don't have to be. Because when I ask young people why they want to study medicine, most of the time what they tell me is that they want to save lives. So this evening you are in law, we have to explain that and unpack it. If you want to save lives, you probably may not have to study medicine. You may save more lives by studying biochemistry, by studying microbiology, because medical doctors use the knowledge that have been generated by chemists, those who study chemistry, those who studied physics, those who study microbiology, those who study biochemistry. That's the knowledge they use in their clinics to determine what prescriptions they have to give to their patients, especially when they add what the pharmacologists, the pharmacists have also been able to generate in terms of knowledge and the drug that they produce. So the point one is making is that if you look at the vaccines that have saved lives, practically eliminated polio from most countries, and have given us vaccines that have brought us out of the COVID era, and then have helped us to ensure that several other diseases that raise infant mortality to very high levels, the vaccines have been able to deal with those problems. Most of those vaccines were not things that were created, invented, or produced by medical doctors. They were generated by microbiologists, by chemists, and most of the time working in collaboration with pharmacologists, with pharmacists, and even sometimes with mathematicians and even physicists. Collaborative work, that's what gives us the kind of arrangement that brings knowledge that saves lives in multiple numbers, in millions. So be wise enough and humble enough to recognize that if you are very good, for example, in chemistry, the smart thing to do is, if it is not a revelation that has come to you that you must become a medical doctor, you may just go and do a first degree in chemistry. Only 4 years, you finish, and you get probably a first class in chemistry or a 2-1, because that's an area that you are gifted in. If you take that, you go back to the university, maybe the same place where you studied, or in the context of what we're discussing, having made a first class in chemistry from a Nigerian university, it becomes easy for you to secure scholarship to go to the UK, Canada, or US to go and do a master's degree all for free. And when you finish your master's degree in the UK, for example, you can finish it in a year. And that gives you now 5 years, first degree, 4 years, master's, another year. That takes you to 5 years. The person studying medicine is still on the way. And then you can start a PhD program in the UK and finish it in 3 years. So in about 8 years, you have a PhD in chemistry. From every available information, the person who has a PhD in chemistry, when competing with the person who has only MBBS, first degree in medicine, definitely if they work in the same health facility, the person who has a PhD in chemistry, especially if what they are doing is not just regularly attending to patients, is likely to be the person heading the facility. And in terms of earning money and international recognition, other things being equal, the person who has a PhD in chemistry or pharmacology or biology or microbiology is likely to be better respected and earn much more money than the person who who insisted on, let's say, mechanical engineering or medicine. If you are very good in mathematics or physics, instead of insisting on mechanical engineering, which is very difficult to get into in Nigeria, you can just go and do a single honor in physics. In 4 years, you are done. And then you can go and do a master's in that and become a world-class person. They are looking for physicists, for mathematicians all over the world. Maths, for example, is a course you can't get wrong, in terms of what it can help you to accomplish. So they need mathematicians in America, they need them in Canada, they need them everywhere in Europe and in Asia. And even in Nigeria, I run Nigerian Teachers Community, and I'm aware that the subject that is highest in demand is mathematics, and the mathematics teachers earn as much as people who work in all your companies, especially if they studied it well and they're able to teach it well. So there are math teachers in Nigeria, in Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt who are earning about #1 million every month, really. Maybe keep a regular job in about $500,000 in an international school where they're highly respected and acknowledged and rewarded, and then through part-time involvements in another $500,000. And so you work in a bank, you can't brag in the presence of somebody who is very good in mathematics. Unfortunately for us in this part of the world, parents generally don't understand how these things work. So they insist on their children studying those courses with big names, mechanical engineering, chemical engineering. But unfortunately for most young people who have studied those courses, especially in the engineering field, have discovered today that they're all teaching mathematics in secondary schools. Most of them are, because there are no factories in Nigeria where these people can work. And the universities in Nigeria also haven't got the facilities, the technology to be able to deliver engineering the way you would want to study to be able to make a huge difference in the world. And so I'm encouraging you to look, beyond what everybody around you seems to be talking about. If you are very good at mathematics, think about it. The cutoff mark is usually significantly lower than the cutoff mark for the big courses. For medicine, for example, is a course that virtually everyone who is good in physics, chemistry, and biology wants to study. And so the acceptance rate is as low as under 5%, meaning that out of every 100 people who want to get in for medicine in any Nigerian university, not more than 5 will get in there. Computer science, pharmacy, pharmacology, accountancy are beginning to also be in similar circumstances, and that's not a smart thing to do. So you find people who sit down waiting to study medicine, and they're writing UTME for 4 or 5 years, and sometimes even when they get in there to study medicine, they also discover they are not able to graduate because dropout rate in medicine is very high. So if 100 people are recruited, for example, to get into a federal university in Nigeria to study medicine, what you find is that by the time they are done with their first year, where they are still repeating physics, chemistry, and biology and other basic things, not more than about 70 of them are going to transit to year 2. About 30 would have dropped out, 30% would have dropped out, and then will be compelled to go back to the courses they rejected for sometimes up to 4 or 5 years. Whereas they would have started with that in their first year, got into university, and by the time they are getting in terms of the number of years they have spent trying to get into university, they probably have already obtained the PhD. So instead of going through that kind of experience, one of the smart things you can do, even if it's medicine you want, you can, once you finish secondary school, get in and study microbiology, study even biological sciences. Look for a course that is not a course everybody is looking at. That way you are guaranteed admission. When you finish it in 4 years, then you can go in through direct entry to study your medicine. You are not likely to drop out when you come in with a first degree because your background will be very sound. Unfortunately, that is not what we find in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, in most of the advanced societies, for example, in the US, nobody moves into a medical school straight from high school, straight from secondary school. You first have to take a degree in a different discipline, like we're discussing microbiology, biological sciences, biomedical engineering. And then when you do well in that, you then write a test to get into medical school. And you find the same arrangement in several other countries around the world. But here, because of ignorance and young people insisting on the conventional routes that they know, they keep wasting time. And sometimes they just discover that this thing just doesn't work out, and they go and learn fashion designing and some other trades, which is not what they bargained for, at the beginning. So recognize that the times have changed, and you have to be wise. So today, 3 elements are involved in determining who comes in to study in Nigerian university. They will look at your UTME score, and that may carry about 50%. That is not the only thing that determines whether you get it or not. They will also look at the quality of your school certificate, your WASC. What did you score in physics, chemistry, biology, and English language? If you want medicine, they remove biology and bring in mathematics if you want an engineering course or computer science. And so if you score, for example, 290 in UTME, but you made only C's in all the essential subjects, you still discover that you won't get into the university in Nigeria as at today, all other factors being equal, because your school certificate is likely to mark you down. And after you have earned good school certificates, which is why sometimes we discover that examination malpractice is rising, because young people are trying to earn the A's, but we don't encourage you to indulge in examination malpractice, because at the end of the day, you are going to pay a huge price for it. If somebody else writes the exam, it will haunt you almost, for a lifetime, and that's not how you want to live your life. You don't want to, be sitting down somewhere as a medical doctor and remembering that it was somebody else who wrote the exam that brought you here. It makes you feel incompetent, and that's not what you want to do. So you can go and study what you have the competence to study, and then become a very, fulfilled professional at the end of the day. And so if you want to study anything, recognize those three elements you have to fulfill: your UTME score, the quality of your school certificate, and of course, universities now insist that they also have to conduct another exam they call post-UTME. A few of them don't do that, but most of them are conducting post-UTME because apart from the claim that it helps them to be sure that the people JAMB is sending to them are actually competent to come into their classrooms, it has also become a revenue earner for most universities in Nigeria. And some of them are making billions as a result of the 2,000, 3,000 they're collecting from young people in Nigeria. And so know that these three elements will have to go into the calculation, will be configured into determining who comes into the university. It's not just one route, one element that you do well in that gives you that. And after you have got in, we also know that university lecturers can, get angry with government and shorthand the system. And so medicine that is supposed to take you maximum 7 years to get out and start practicing, you might end up spending 10 years. If it's engineering, 5 years might end up becoming 7 years. That's probably not what you want. If it's mass communication, you might end up, instead of 4 years, spending 6 years to earn your degree. But if you pay attention to the things I'm explaining this evening, you are likely to realize that you can get around these things and nobody's going to waste your time, keeping you where you should not be. So if you get very disappointed in the quality of university education Nigeria is providing today, you can do something about it. Those of us who study human nature, we talk about agency. So don't get to a point where you think that Nigeria is so difficult that you can do nothing about your circumstance. No, you are an agent in that, and who has the capacity to activate processes that will give you what you're looking for. You can choose to go and study abroad. So the way to go and study abroad is if you have done well while in secondary school in terms of your academic performance. You have written your exams right from JS1 to SS3, and you have done well in all of them, earning 70s, 80s, and 90s. Then you have a good transcript. American universities are interested in that. And then the next thing to do is to recognize that American universities and in some extent British universities are not interested in only your academic record. They also are interested in two other elements, and those other elements are your leadership record. Were you a head boy? Were you a head girl? Were you a chaplain prefect? Were you a refectory prefect? Were you taking care of food for all the students in the boarding house? Were you a class captain, several times? Were you a subject captain? And all of those things are important. In some sense, actually, they carry about 33%. So if you do well as a leader, even when you don't do extremely well academically, American universities can give you full scholarship and you study for free. And that will become almost guaranteed if you add a good community service record to your profile. By that we mean in your community, aside from paying attention to your academic work, do you also create time to take care of widows, to take care of the elderly in your community? Your fellow students, have you set up a system, probably using online platforms or organizing tutorial to help those who do not know, who are not very competent in mathematics or in the use of English, so that they can come up to your level and begin to do well? Those things count when you want good scholarships in the UK, in Canada, in the USA, especially in the USA. That is something that they are very interested in. So it's your responsibility to pay attention to how these things work and recognize that it's not only academics that you are in school for. you are also in school to lead, because they believe that if you start leading from when you are in school, and then they can trust you to also lead after you have finished university. And they are also interested in how you are serving your community. What are you giving to other people in terms of using the knowledge you have acquired to make life better for not only your family, but also for several other families in the community where you live. That's important. So if you want to go to the US, yes, these three elements must work together. And if you're a parent watching this presentation, please stop telling your child not to show interest in picking up leadership roles and say, focus on your studies, focus on your academic work. It doesn't work like that. If she focuses on her academic work alone, yeah, she might be able to get into a university in Nigeria, but she may not be able to get into university in America. Even if she does, it means you have to pick up all the bills, because she may not be able to get good scholarship, because the good scholarships in the US and other parts of the developed world go to young people who are not only masters of the subjects studied in school, but also very good at leadership. You know, they have negotiation skills, they have good communication skills, they are able to play in teams, and they have emotional intelligence, they are also culturally and socially aware. And so that gives them a balanced personality. American universities are interested in such people. So their stories can be written when they make applications, and then you can take the next step, write TOEFL, write IELTS. Don't listen to people who tell you, you don't need those tests. Yes, in theory, universities may tell you that you can apply without writing those tests, but the scholarships generally go to the people who do extremely well in those kinds of tests. So even when the university tells you, yeah, you can still apply even if you haven't written IELTS. If your parents can afford to send you to a good tuition house for you to acquire the skills, for you to write IELTS and TOEFL and SAT, Scholastic Aptitude Test, by all means do that. Don't listen to people who tell you that those things don't matter. The best scholarships in the world will go to people who have done extremely well in those kinds of tests. At Harvard University and MIT, for example, if you want to get into MIT for an engineering course, for example, you over 1,600, you probably should be aiming at 1,100 or 1,500 if you want it to become a banker. But that's not all. They also want you to prove that you are an uncommon child. By that, they mean, have you led? Have you made a difference? Have you done something big, earth-shaking? Have you served your community? All of these things are very critical. And so if you have been dwelling on only your family problems and you haven't been spending time to think about what concerns other people, the time for you to change the way you look at life has come. Because if you want good education, sometimes absolutely for free. For example, at Harvard, you can go to Harvard absolutely for free, just by having A's right from your JS1 to your SS trade, and then picking up leadership roles along the way, right from the time you were in primary school to the time you finish secondary school. And then you have special projects, you have a website of your own, you are contributing to the development of society. And even if your parents don't have a dime, MIT will ask you to come and study absolutely for free. You won't pay tuition, and they will let you actually also eat for free and live in their accommodation for free, because they have what they call NIST blind admission, where first, as you approach them, they're asking the question, do you have the intellectual capacity to be able to benefit from the kind of education they give? And they are not looking at your financial circumstances. After they have determined that you can benefit from the education they give, they will now start asking the question, yes, can you afford it? If the answer is no, but you have proved beyond every reasonable doubt that if they bring you into their university, you will finish well and make them proud globally. They will let you study for free. It's not only MIT that does that. Harvard does it. Yale does it. Columbia, most of the Ivy League schools in the US are into it, at the moment. And so those opportunities are there. And so you can do something to take yourself there. Don't. If you're studying in a school where you don't have a career manager as a counselor, it's fine. You can reach out to Nigerian, a teachers community will be able to help you. In the next, 1 week, we're actually trying to select a few young Nigerians who are truly very outstanding in physics, chemistry, mathematics, English language, and even subjects like accounting, so that we can balance it. But most of the opportunities we have go to those who are coming from STEM, who want to study science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So if you are good in any of those areas, we can be of help. We'll be able to give you opportunity to earn excellent grades in SAT, in IELTS, and TOEFL, and learn how to become very useful to your community and help you to tell your story, so that you can go out there and make a difference and lift your family out of financial insecurity. We can do that with you. If you would like to know the details about that, in the chat box, I think a member of my team should be able to help you with information regarding where you can get those details. Tech Teens is a place where you can, we have a program we call Tech Teens. We take just a few young Nigerians. We don't take those who are not good in the those outstanding subjects I have, very critical subjects I have talked about. We are interested in English, in physics, in chemistry, and mathematics. So if you have parents who are happy to support you, you can look at the information we have there at the Tech Teens, page on the website of Nigerian Teachers Community. And if you meet other requirements, we'll be happy to work with you. Those other requirements will include that your parents should ensure that they get you a smartphone, they get you a laptop. The idea of teenagers shouldn't have smartphone, it won't work, because if you get into the university, especially in the advanced societies, everybody uses smartphone, everybody uses the laptop. You can't study in those places without interacting with the internet on a regular basis. And so let's stop, believing that this world we know in Nigeria is the only world there is out there. If you're training a child today and the child is 15, 16, 17 years old, and you're still insisting that the child can't use computer, cannot go to the internet, that is not good training, because such a child is being shortchanged. That child is not going to become globally competitive, because most of the information that will make you earn money at a very young age and lift your family out of financial insecurity, all of those pieces of information, you have them on the internet, and you can be trained to be able to do research on your own right from the early stages of your life. But under parental guidance, you should be able to use internet well. And if you are participating in this kind of conversation this evening, I believe that if your parents provide you those kinds of devices, then it would be stupid and foolish for you to use resources provided for you to become an outstanding individual, to start doing Yahoo, or start watching pornography, or start doing other things that are not going to be beneficial to your future. And I'm believing that if you are smart enough to sit down and monitor this conversation, then other things being equal, you are not likely to be one of those young people who get distracted into thinking that defrauding other people is the way, for them to achieve enduring wealth. So some of these ideas are things we would, like you to explore. Now, if you are in the arts, like you want to study political science, you want to study philosophy, you want to study mass communication, you want to study business administration, the world we live in is not a world anymore where you insist on doing it conventionally. There are professional bodies, while you're waiting for JAMB, UTME result to be released, you can enroll with a professional body. For example, there is Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, there are Business Education Exams Council, and some of these professional exams, if you want to study mass communication in the university, which takes 4 years, you can, in a very short period, get in for a professional program and write exams and earn a professional diploma, with which you can shorten the duration of your program in the university. So instead of sitting down and waiting for UTME result to come, while you're writing it and waiting for the result to come, all you need to do is to enroll for one of the professional programs. I'm using public relations as a case study for those who are interested in management courses, who are interested in communication courses. Don't wait to go and study what you have always had in your head. That's not how the world works anymore. So what you can do is do that within a very short period, sometimes a matter of months. If you are very hardworking, you earn your professional diploma and you start at 300 level in the university instead of starting from 100 level. And in only 2 years, you earn a degree. And interestingly, when you come in with a professional diploma and starting at 300 level, universities will allow you to actually study on part-time, so you can work, earn money, and you're improving your circumstances in every sense of the word. And when you combine work experience with the theories that have been discussed in the class, when you move in that direction, what you find is that you will finish well and make a first class. With that first class, you can get out of Nigeria, go to Canada, go to US, go to United Kingdom, and with a scholarship, sometimes full ride, and do a master's, and from there you can move on to go and do a PhD. So life becomes very easy. But if you insist on continuing to look at life in this very narrow sense, which is the lens with which most Nigerian children are looking at life as a result of ignorance, definitely continue to look at life that way will not give you what you're looking for. So you have to think of unconventional approaches to getting what you want, because the admission rate in Nigeria into the university is very low, especially for those seeking professional courses, courses like advertising, public relations, mass communication, engineering, pharmacology, pharmacy, medicine, and computer science. So you need to find alternative ways. For example, if you want computer science, you don't need to wait until you get admission into a university to go and study computer science. You can enroll in, a vocational training center, and most of the time they do it better. Learn coding, learn, programming, and add some other things to it, how to handle camera, how to do video editing. In 1 year, you can earn what is superior to a university degree given by a typical Nigerian university. We are all living witnesses to the fact that people who study computer science and finish in Nigerian universities, on a general note, there are exceptions to the rule, but those are just exceptions. On a general note, they are not able to do anything very significant, awesome, and it's not the fault of the children, it's not the fault of the graduate, because our universities, as you have heard our lecturers complain, are not equipped to give world-class education. Typically, the average Nigerian university, as we have heard professors complain, they shut down university for about 8 months because they complain that they are not getting laboratory equipment, and they are not sending them also to other countries to go and train and retrain and network with their colleagues so that they can continue to provide cutting-edge knowledge in the areas of their specialty. So if you would want to take that alternative route, we'll be happy to help. Nigerian teachers community will be happy to assist a few young people, especially those who are in the Lagos axis. So as I'm speaking now, if you look at the chat box, you see the web page where you can get more information on that. Within a year, you finish the entire program, you go and start at 300 level in the university, and nobody gets rejected, and you move on. You'll be earning money while you're studying. And then if it's abroad you want to go, that's fine. Go abroad. And anything you want to study, invest in it, use internet resources, talk to me, I'm available. While I'm in the country, I'm not in the country all the time, but anytime I'm in the country, it's fine. If you look at the page on our website, Dr. Peter Ogudiro's profile is there. Click on it and have a look, and find me on Instagram, find me on TikTok, find me on LinkedIn, connect with me. I'll be happy to answer your questions. Twitter, I'm also there. And so whichever where you want to go about it, trying to reach me, I'll be happy to talk to you. But in terms of phone calls, which I also can permit, you do that in the evenings between 7 and 9 p.m. Those 2 hours window, I have it reserved for young people and their parents and other fresh graduates who are looking for opportunities to earn good money and go abroad. As we speak now, if you're a university graduate and you haven't got the kind of job you're looking for, we are at the center of a program opened up by the United Kingdom. Nigerian teachers can, if they have qualified as teachers in Nigeria, and again, what we call the qualified teacher status in the UK, travel out of here and go and earn, good money teaching in the UK. And so even if you're an engineer, if you think teaching is a good, way to have a foot in the door into the UK, that's a smart thing to do. And so you can get in there and go and be a teacher. If you haven't trained as a teacher, we'll be able to help you to, learn how to train as a teacher. And so if you send me a message by WhatsApp via the telephone number you have seen, in the chat box, 090-6960-3692. I'll be able to put you on a platform where we have thousands of teachers who are preparing to be able to take advantage of what the UK is about to unleash on Nigerian teachers in terms of opportunities. And on January 27, you can join us at an international conference. It will be a virtual conference, so you can participate from anywhere in the world. We are bringing about 11 UK institutions to join us to help Nigerian teachers understand in perfect terms how they can efficiently and effectively come into the UK to work. Our starting salary for the average teacher will be as high as about 30 million naira in a year. And compare that to what the average teacher earns in Nigeria, you see how easy life can be when people have the right information. So reach out to us. From this evening, we'll open our platform for people to register to attend that conference, which we'll hold on January 27th. It's on a Friday and it's in the evening. So if you're a teacher, you join us after you have had, you have finished teaching your children on a typical, Friday. By 5 o'clock, you join us and we'll be there for 3 hours working with representatives of UK institutions who will help you to learn how to get into the UK stress-free and earn good money. And with time, if you have a family, you move your children there, they also get good education. We won't be able to finish everything today. We'll have another conversation in the future. But before I close, I would like you to know that there are several other countries around the world that also offer scholarships, to smart people. For example, Germany. All public universities in Germany offer free education, no matter where you come from, even when you come from Nigeria or Ghana or Cameroon, and you get into a public university in Germany, you are able to study for free. But you may not be able to get it straight from secondary school. So if, for example, in the university already, and you have finished 1 full year and you have earned good grades, you can transfer to a German university and then learn German while you are studying, the same course which you have started in Nigeria. If it's engineering or computer science or economics, all of those courses are available. So you look for universities in Germany that teach in English language. And so we can also help you if you, again, connect with us. We'll provide you assistance as to how you can make those things happen. The only money you need will be money for your accommodation and feeding while you're in Germany. And several other opportunities around the world exist. In France, we have similar opportunities and routes, and we'll be available to support you. And so if you are not a member of the WhatsApp platform where we shared the link for this conversation, make a deliberate effort to join us. If you don't have access to it, just send a WhatsApp message to that number which you have already seen, 090-6960-3692. If you are watching us from outside Nigeria, you want to benefit from this. For example, Nigerians in diaspora, you're spending a lot of money to keep your children in US university. So it's like all the money you're earning in America, you're using it to train your children in university. You don't need to do that. You can actually get your children into the university for free. And I see a lot of Nigerians who are struggling with that in the UK and in the US. All the money they're earning, they're using to keep their children in universities. You don't have to. Because if you borrow ideas from some of the issues I have raised this evening, push your children into leadership opportunities, let them lead, push them into community service, let them serve their communities, and then get them good teachers in mathematics and physics. Don't depend on only what the school system is giving you. Give them very good grounding in English language grammar, and push them to write international exams. Don't listen to people who tell you it doesn't matter. It's a competition. For every scholarship that is full ride that is available, you probably are likely to have up to 20,000 people who are competing for it. So only those who have very outstanding academic, leadership, and community service, records are likely to secure those kinds of opportunities. So watch who you are listening to. There are so many charlatans on the internet who, out of lack of job, are just looking for page view, and everybody has become an expert. I do not want you to become a victim of rumor that has no scientific, basis for it. Once again, if you joined us late, I'm Dr. Peter Ogudoro. I'm an alumnus of the University of Reading in the UK, where I earned a PhD in education with emphasis on career management, product diffusion and attitude change. And I lead Nigerian Teachers Community, a community of professional teachers. We're about 500,000 at the moment. A good number of us come from other countries, from China, from France, from Ghana, from United States of America, from United Kingdom. And so some of our members are there to do research, others are there sharing ideas with fellow teachers. That makes life, very enhancing. And we are all there to empower ourselves and help society to move forward, especially the Nigerian society. And we have been privileged to have won the Facebook Community Accelerator Award for year 2021, which has made it possible for us to move around the world to learn what some of our colleagues are doing, and we're bringing that knowledge to bear on the work that we do for the Nigerian education space. And we're also collaborating with relevant agencies both in Nigeria and outside Nigeria. And as I mentioned earlier, on January 27, beginning from 5 o'clock, we're going to have an international conference About 11 resource persons are coming, from UK agencies and institutions to join us to explain how you can leave Nigeria and migrate to the United Kingdom without having, to go there, to suffer. If you're a teacher, you want to teach in the UK, you have to modify the way you look at life, because every child matters, and they are not going to let you get into their classrooms to take care of children if you are not respectful of, the dignity of every child, and you are not ready to collaborate with parents to answer their questions and provide the right answers. So on that note, I wish you well, and hoping that if we manage to come your way again, we'll be hoping that you would have taken full advantage of the information we have provided you. So look at the publications routes, take advantage of it to get in at 300 level. The Tech Teams program, which will give you access to coding, to programming, to IELTS, to TOEFL, and learning your mathematics, physics, and chemistry, to a level that will make it easy for you to pass SAT and pass other international exams. And then we'll help you to do your applications well and tell your story in a way that you can get into very good universities around the world. And everybody's welcome. While the Lord, provides us the energy and the resources, will continue to be of assistance to everybody who needs the kind of uncommon knowledge that God Almighty has blessed us with. On that note, I say bye-bye.